even break a sweat.
Are real programming techniques that was simply never utilized. And the thing is, open
That's
zone
it.
does
Let's keep
actually
this up.
mean something.
I'm not seeing any shadows nearby.
What it means is that instead of being a normal open world, it's cluttered full of tons of sonic junk.
What's that?
Rings, springs,
Focus.
floating platforms, and grind rails clog the skyline of the Starfall Islands. To call it an eyesore would be an understatement. Mostly this stuff is here to facilitate the huge number of collectibles in Sonic Frontiers. You can find experience points, chips that you spend on
Focus.
Sonic skill
What's
tree,
that?
strength
see it.
and seeds that can
Focus.
enhance Sonic's combat abilities, data footage and combos that can be spent to increase Sonic's running capacity or top speed, purple clothing you can get to pick the cat to play his fishing minigame, portal gears to unlock cyberspace levels, vault keys to unlock chaos emeralds, lastly, memory tokens that are used to make story progress on each specific island. A lot of these are supposed to be gotten in specific places. You'll often find memory tokens or enhancement seeds at the end of islands on Blaster, for instance. Cocos, vision coins, or characters and high clips. That sort of thing. But a lot of it feels like totally missing. Open zone segments are amazing right there. It's like they took a bunch of Sonic levels, chopped them up into tiny 5-second chunks, and then scattered them like confetti in random directions around each island. None of them feel connected to each other, and they make each island feel annoyingly homogeneous. Unlike a Sonic level, where one stage may focus on challenges, grind rails, and another stage may be about springs or water or spikes, the open zone stuff in Sonic Frontiers never really changes or evolves. Every island has the same types of grind rails, the same springs, the same platforms, over and over and over again. It's loopless, directionless clutter, and it strangles the personality out of each island. It feels like you're repeating the same actions everywhere you go. It also just makes an island difficult to interact with sometimes. The memory tokens you collect are given to different friends Sonic is attempting to rescue. But thanks to the strange, cluttered layout of every island, and the small size of the characters themselves, they can be nearly impossible to see. It doesn't help that a lot of these story NPCs are often just standing out in the middle of nowhere, far away from planets. Often they're unpenetrated because they're not usually in places you would expect, like through cyberspace portals or chaos in the walls. One of the last things they do when they do the island is using the minimap to mark story NPC locations, because otherwise I could never find them on my own. It bolsters the very uncanny, disjointed vibe that carries so much of this game. It even extends to the lore of the world itself. For story reasons, these are supposed to be
Elevator
lived
looks
in
like it'll
spaces.
take us up. We've gotta go
Starfall
look.
Islands are home to
There
a
must
very
be
long
a
lost,
reason to release it
long
somewhere.
dead
See if we
civilization
can find
with
it.
ties to the Master Emeralds and the Echidna tribes seen in the original Sonic
This must be
Adventure.
the security. It looks like we can...
While you trek across one of Sonic Frontiers 5 open zone areas, walk around the structures built by the nations. And the game's somber tone brings to mind things like Breath of the Wild and Shadow of the Colossus. However, unlike those games which strive to portray their ruins as believable, livable spaces, most of the ruins in Sonic Frontiers feel like instances of dressing. One of my favorite areas in Breath of the Wild is Fort Hateno. During that game's apocalypse, Hateno was the site of a great battle for the future of Hyrule.
Wrap this up, quick!
Got your back.
I think we can blow these up. Let's use them against the enemy. Fire, huh? They're weak, but don't underestimate them.
100 years after that battle takes place, and the ruins tell a story about what happened.
Somewhere?
It's littered with broken guardian robots, rusted weapons, and the nature is slowly reclaiming the ruins the world still stands. without the game even having to say a word. Feel the history of where the game comes to play. That could be silent storytelling. What's with these bones? How is that Are these the ruins of Long Long Ranch? Sonic Frontiers occasionally points out that what you're looking at are houses, satellites, weapons.
No enemies in sight.
Rather
Keep
than it
moving.
feels like anything organic. Settlements were too small, too spread out.
Elevator's working.
What's that?
It's the very texture of a society. What did they eat? Where did they eat? What did they do for fun? Did they have a religion?
We should be able to ride all the way up to the top
Did
of
they have
this.
art?
Maybe we
The
can
game
join us
eventually
one
tells us that they had science,
Guess
but
that would have been a little too easy.
where did they study?
Come on.
What does it
Greet our
look like?
guests.
Just to be clear, I'm not asking for
You guys are just gonna have to hold out.
this question. That's not a quote from what I'm saying. It's like Frontiers first and foremost is about history. What it does is it provides a core job of storing fires of them. Whoa, that was sweet!
It's over.
Sometimes even if it were possible to get a big picture view of the Starfall society,
Seems we're quite a
how it
ways up.
functions,
Have we
it's
reached the
buried
limit?
under so many endless rings, springs, grind rails, and platforms that it's impossible to see much history. It's so desperate to remind you that it's still a Sonic game that it forgets to stop and let its world breathe. Now, the recent patch did add a series of action chain challenges.
You're mine. Perhaps I should be taking notes. A distraction that lets you chase high scores. It can be enjoyable, sure, but the world still is what it is, which is full of weird, boring, disjointed mess. Especially when you consider that you never actually have to interact with the open build stuff if you don't want to. Sonic has a new ability called the Sidewalk, which lets you draw circles on the ground and activate whatever you prefer. It feels like a fun nod to Knights on the Sega Saturn, and your ability to perform a paraloop in that game. In every open zone map of Sonic Frontier, there's a lot of these treasure chest icons scattered all over the place. And if you silent around them, they often just give you collectibles without having to do anything. Heck, sometimes you can even just silent around nothing and a bunch of stuff will just pop out of the ground. There's tons of everything, everywhere, and while some will see that as a benefit, to me it feels like a mea culpa to have made so many gameplay Let's see.
specifically designed to be ignored. This isn't Skyrim, where you have hundreds of hours of quests and must prioritize what you personally think is interesting. This is Sega working this. part of Sonic Frontiers that is most directly analogous to Zelda are the puzzle sections you'll find dotted around each of the world centers. Solve a puzzle and pieces of your map you discover. Find nearby objects and guardians to fight, puzzles to solve, cyberspace portals, and so on. But whereas Zelda marked an entire region after you activate the tower, Sonic Frontiers marks random little squares that often are interconnected with each other. This leads to a lot of frustrating scenarios where you want to know what's in a specific location on the map, but you can't find the right puzzle that will be able to solve it. Or worse, a puzzle will be a small piece. Not enough to get you. Puzzles themselves seem to be charming at first. Throw a lot of info and choose the size to activate a thing. Someone at the Sonic interesting ways. Screen challenge and having a race to a goal. All of more time. But it doesn't take long before the well starts to move on. Just by the second island, you start to make repeats of puzzles to reverse them. These repeats do get progressively harder, but when the fifth tile puzzle is getting to be points, it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Some puzzles even have the audacity to block the specific tokens of the game. There's nothing worse than walking to a specific part of the map to be told that the puzzle in question is solved tonight. I'm pretty sure you can't even just stand around and wait. How long it lasts in some years seems to change depending on certain factors. Possibly even how fast Sonic himself happens to be. The grand and preliminary tests themselves, at the very least, I can confirm that while standing still, a full day in Sonic Frontiers from sunrise to sunset lasts a little over 30 minutes. I also recorded a moment when the clock froze over 30 minutes at sometime because it was waiting for me to stop idling so it could begin Starfall, which is sort of like this game's version of a blood moon from Breath of the Wild. I unfortunately didn't get footage of the Starfall itself, but the game definitely waited until I moved the analog stick before it started the event. My point is, if you come across one of these time of day specific puzzles and you can't do it yet, your best bet is to just ignore it and hope you remember to come back later, because otherwise you could be waiting a very, very, very long time. It is beyond strange. A couple times per island, you'll also be required to complete a special puzzle minigame as part of a story event. Almost all of these are universally bad. They usually entail turning most of Sonic's abilities off so that you can do things like herd Coco, or do an extended skydiving sequence, or a hacking minigame that's a bullet hell shooter for some reason. And for the life of me, I can't figure out why a Sonic the Hedgehog game needs any of this stuff. With The Legend of Zelda, those games have been about puzzles and mysteries since the beginning. The secret is in the tree at the dead end, that kind of stuff. But this goes back to what I was talking about at the very start of this review. About how there's nobody around who seems to know what Sonic the Hedgehog is anymore. Do people come to Sonic for bullet hell shooters now? Or light beam puzzles? Even if nobody knows what Sonic is anymore, in the broadest sense, the games were still at least about bouncing around and going fast, right? All of this open world stuff, whether it's the puzzles or the open zone junk or whatever, it feels like busy work and not actual gameplay. It's something for you to do while you listen to a podcast or watch YouTube on another monitor. Is that really something we should be celebrating as what finally makes Sonic good again? Low effort, low engagement distraction? Breath of the Wild, and now especially Tears of the Kingdom, at the bare minimum, taught creative problem solving. Its shrines only ever suggested solutions, but whatever worked, worked. And that's what was great about it. In Sonic Frontiers, you're presented with a drawbridge that looks like a huge ramp. Boosting up the bridge using Sonic's speed and using it to launch across a ravine as you smack into an invisible wall and then fall to your death. The bridge must be lowered via a puzzle minigame that is decidedly unsonic. It's the worst kind of frustrating. Even Mario, for as much as Super Mario Odyssey also embraces its various open worlds, never strays too far from the idea that Mario is a platformer at heart. So much of that game extends and expands on what players know about Mario's core movement abilities.
What should we make?
It always feels like it makes sense. Sonic Frontiers has Sonic operating construction equipment in order to drop balls into cups, because that will trigger an even bigger ball to bust out of a wall for some reason. What does that have to do with anything? By far, the worst example of this comes at the game's halfway point, with the third island's final puzzle minigame. The Chaos Island Pinball Table. This plays like somebody heard that Sonic games contain pinball physics, so they threw something together to appease those fans. The idea is that you're supposed to earn 5 million points playing pinball in order to progress the story. The table itself is extremely simple. 5 round bumpers at the top with a scoop circling around them full of rings, with the requisite pair of triangle bumpers closer to the flippers at the bottom of the board. Opportunities to rack up points in this tiny little board are slim, but the idea is that the longer you go without losing a ball, the more you begin to build a score multiplier. Though you start out only earning a couple hundred points for hitting a bumper, by the end you're supposed to be getting tens of thousands of points per bounce, making that 5 million point goal seem not so bad. And for a lucky few, they'll only spend a couple of minutes in this pinball segment. But for everyone else, myself included, this pinball table is one of the game's worst nightmares. I have to get into the portal too? Now I am nervous. Please. The overly simplified table and the chaotic nature of pinball itself, combined with a physics engine that doesn't do a very good job keeping up with the ball. Like, did you know that pinball can be so random and chaotic that the pinball industry actually had to go before the California Supreme Court in the 1970s to prove it wasn't just gambling? That it was actually a game of skill and not a game of chance? Cops were actually busting up pinball machines because they thought it was illegally sidestepping gambling laws, and the pinball table manufacturers had to prove that it wasn't. That's because, to the average player, despite its simple mechanics, pinball can be a very difficult game to get good at. It's all about physics manipulation, and to the untrained eye, it can seem like winning is a matter of random luck. Now imagine the collision detection on the flippers can sometimes fail, and your ball can fall out of bounds even if you're playing it correctly. That's the Sonic Frontiers pinball puzzle. Even if you're playing it right, there's a chance it's going to break, and most people aren't even going to be playing it right. I like pinball, and this damn thing took me a half an hour to clear. And then, after you complete it, they have the audacity to have this little bit of dialogue where Sonic goes, "Boy, it sure is weird to have a pinball table inside this volcano. I guess everybody just loves pinball." And I just, ugh. Sonic Team needs to stop putting pinball tables into Sonic games, because I don't think they've ever gotten it right or made it feel natural.
You're doing this one?
Not in Sonic Heroes, not in Sonic 4, not in Sonic Lost World, and definitely not in Sonic Frontiers. The only time it ever felt reasonable was in
You're
Sonic
accepting this
Generations,
request?
where it was an optional side activity quarantined off to an actual separate pinball table that you could totally ignore depending on what mood you were in. The pinball elements of old Sonic games, like in Casino Night Zone, were only ever a small fraction of what those levels
You're doing
actually
this one?
offer. Whereas every modern implementation of
You're doing this
pinball
one?
into a Sonic game
You're doing this one?
not only forcing way too much pinball into the middle of a platformer, it never even works right. And in Sonic Frontiers, it's just more evidence that these people don't know what to do with this character. It's bad pinball, and it's bad Sonic. Sonic games haven't mattered for a while. Starting as far back as Sonic Rush on the Nintendo DS in 2005, enemies mainly existed as a way to refill your boost meter. You did that by crashing through them in obstacles. Your main hazard since then have been spikes and bottomless pits, both of which were more about testing your reflexes than engaging in combat. Sonic Frontiers goes in the opposite direction, slowing Sonic down considerably and presenting you with enemies that are more than simply just cannon fodder. Littered around open worlds are enemies for Sonic to fight. You've got the basic Fantasy Star Online looking monsters, larger and dangerous guardians that drop
Don't let yourself get caught up in the trouble. Better stay calm.
It's hard to stay calm after the shit we just saw.
So this is why Konoe was trying to become a hero.
Because no one was coming to save him? But that was Konoe's father. Konoe suffered all alone for so long. Sophie.
Sonic Appliances or Sonic Battle. It's sort of like getting Sonic to drive a car. Yes, there are games where he can do it, but it's not really what he's about. But then, as we covered earlier, Sonic isn't about anything these days, is he? Nothing matters anymore. Embrace nihilism. All kidding aside, there is at least some history here, but it's history worth leaving behind, if we're being honest. Sonic games have been obsessed with RPG mechanics as far back as the original Sonic Adventure, when Takashi Iizuka pitched it as a Sonic & Knuckles RPG. This was directly manifested in Sonic Heroes, where enemies were given life bars. This made it so that most enemies had to be hit more than once to complete their life bar.
Alright.
Like power cores to level up and
This is the request.
the ability to power up your character by defeating enemies was
Also, the
also
user
planned
is
to be
counted
part
right
of
now.
Sonic
We should buy
6.
some. What are you selling?
Feature was never finished, just as with enemies that take multiple hits to destroy. And then there's Sonic Unleashed, where you have the Werehog.
Lemon, are you
There,
sure?
punching enemies will provide you with experience points gems that can be used to power up strength, health, and more. Now, I'll be the first to tell you that the Werehog isn't so bad, but only after you max out all his meters. Until you do that, fights are a difficult slog with spongy enemies that take way too many hits to kill. Now, when I did my gut check reaction video to Sonic Frontiers, I had a surprising number of comments from people calling me out over my dislike of Sonic Fist Fighting,
Lemon, are you sure?
because they thought giving Sonic more melee combat was a great idea.
Are
For
you
them,
sure?
they welcomed adding more depth to the game. For me, I was reminded of two things. One, that Sega has said fans frequently requested shooting be added to
Are you
Sonic
sure?
games, leading to the
Are you
notorious
sure?
turd known as
Are
Shadow
you
the
sure?
Hedgehog. Now, there was a lot wrong with Shadow, but making a game
Are you sure?
run really, really fast, but then have to stop dead in your tracks to shoot an assault rifle was extra dumb. And two, that eternally relevant clip from The Simpsons, where a focus group director asked the kids what they want to see in the next season of their favorite cartoon show,
Are you
Itchy
sure?
and Scratchy.
Lemon,
Okay,
are you
how
sure?
many of you kids would like Itchy and Scratchy to deal with
Are
real
you
life
sure?
problems like the ones you face every day?
Lemon, are you sure?
And who would like to see them do
Are you
just
sure?
the opposite, getting into far-out situations involving robots and magic powers? So, you want a realistic, down-to-earth show that's completely off the wall and swarming with magic robots.
And also, you should win things by watching.
Sonic games have been trying on and off for a very long time to find ways to expand Sonic's combat, and it never makes sense or works out.
Are you
Even
sure?
if Sonic has been suffering an identity crisis, stopping to fight enemies is completely antithetical to most of what you do in these games. I sometimes compare Sonic to The Flash, and it's like, how many times do you ever see The Flash get into a fist fight? It's kind of rare because The Flash is so fast that most people can't even touch him, and if he does have to use his fists,
Sonic right now.
It's more likely he's the first and only person to land a
How many
blow.
would you like?
Sonic has almost never needed to use his fists before, and probably wouldn't even be very good with them anyway. Sonic the Hedgehog is a living buzzsaw that is faster than the speed of sound, which, if you didn't know, is over 700 miles per hour. To put that in perspective, here's a clip from Mythbusters of a rocket-propelled sled hitting 650 miles per hour.
They're discounted.
In that context, trying to get a player to slow down and punch out some life bars seems
You think the
like
best?
asking for melee combat to be added to a super fast
How many
game
would you
like,
think the best?
I
How
don't
many would you
know,
think the best?
F-Zero.
How many would you think
The
the
worst
best?
part of all of this is
How many
that
would you think the
despite
best?
protesting,
You think the
combat
best?
in Sonic Frontiers isn't even
You
that
think the
bad.
best?
Or at least, it's not bad at first. When you're on that first island fighting the most basic enemies, it's kind of fun mashing out easy combos and chaining together Sonic's crazier attacks. But by that second island, Sonic Frontiers reveals its true form. You don't just get enemies that block your attacks. You get enemies that become impossible to touch in any context at all. The only way to break them out of this form is to circle them with Sonic's new Psyloop ability, which just makes everything take even longer. So not only do you have to make a conscious decision to slow down and fight, but you have to double up on that
What should we
and
make?
Psyloop them when they start
Are you gonna
turtling
cook?
your attacks.
Good idea.
Whatever small amount of fun there is to
Well
have in
done.
that combat system immediately vanishes. Now, earlier I mentioned that you don't really need to do anything in this game if you don't want to. So the game gestures at the structure of getting certain collectibles for doing things like beating up enemies.
looking for
You just
today?
find a
What
lot
are
of
you
this stuff hanging around the world if you go looking for it. Heck,
There's a sale
Big
happening.
Cat even has a
That's your
fishing
chance to sell 'em.
minigame where he'll just straight up sell you a lot of the collectibles. You can skip almost everything if you don't want to do it. Ergo, if you don't want to fight enemies, you should be able to avoid them, right? Well, not really, no. Though there are some enemies you can safely bypass. Even by the second island, you're going to start encountering monsters that force you to engage with them. Like these umbrella-looking enemies. Get too close to one and the camera will automatically focus on them while they set up their attack. Doesn't matter what direction you're running in, what you were doing. Doesn't matter if you try and take control of the camera back. If you accidentally activate one, you aren't allowed to ignore them until they're done. And the further you get into the game, the more they start introducing enemies like this that won't let you ignore them. The Guardians are the worst of them. Just like with the basic enemies, the Guardians you fight on the first island are kind of fun.
Things are discounted right
The
now.
rest of the
You should buy
Guardians,
something.
most of them center around completing an arbitrary gimmick in order to reach or expose your weak point. After which you're given a tiny window to run up and punch them a few times. You'll often have to repeat this loop too. If you activate a Guardian, not only does the entire game stop to show you your intro every single time, but you're often repositioned so that you can fight them. Like, check it out. I'm running through the desert here, and I accidentally activate the sharp one. Once its intro is over, the game makes sure I'm pointed directly at him, even though by the time he activated, I had already run long past him. It's not even the worst offender either. Some Guardians will trap you in their minigame if you make the mistake of activating them by accident. Like Tank here, who basically pulls Sonic into a sandstorm the moment he wakes up. No part of this is ever very fun. There's a simple joy in mashing buttons and watching flashy animations, sure, but the instant this game tries to showcase any kind of depth or variety in the combat system, it proves to be embarrassingly frustrating. I'm a long-time veteran of games like Bayonetta, and to a lesser extent, Devil May Cry, and I definitely feel Sonic Frontiers trying to peel off a little bit of that DNA here.
What should we make?
It doesn't work.
I can help.
Those games
I'll
are
just
very
add
much
this.
about the precision of knowing what attack you when and your defensive maneuvers to punish the enemy's weakness. They require
Yeah.
skill, finesse, and observation. Sonic here, mashing buttons until the mashing doesn't work anymore, and then holding down an infinite parry so that you can keep mashing. When that stops being fun, the game tries to make combat about something else entirely that's even worse. Rarely does it
never flow together well or feel very satisfying. Sonic Frontiers doesn't know what it's doing, and Sonic games with deeper combat systems like this have never known what they're doing. The last major piece of the Sonic Frontiers gameplay loop are the cyberspace levels. Once you collect enough portal gears and slot it into the portal throw thingy,
Sonic enters cyberspace. This is where the game transitions from the open world brawler to something more closely resembling a traditional gameplay CC.
Everybody ready?
Alright, let's get to work.
Cyberspace is being generated from his memory.
I should write some.
Basically boils down to an excuse to reuse levels from past Sonic games again and again. We have 4 different environments: Green Hill Zone, Chemical Plant Zone, Sky Sanctuary Zone, and a new nondescript city area, internally known as Eternal Highway Zone. And that's it. Every one of the Sonic levels takes place in one of these 4 tile sets, shaking out to roughly 9 levels per environment. So, if you're like me, and tired of how often you have to cycle through the Hill Zone, well, this is not a Green Hill Zone. No, you know what? Scratch that. Sonic Frontiers has more Green Hill Zone than any Sonic game ever produced in the last 30 years. 1/4 of this entire game is Green Hill Zone. That's terrible. To make matters worse, out of those 38 levels, only 8 of them are original creations. Close to 80% of this game are just levels they've pulled from past Sonic games, with a flimsy excuse that we're experiencing Sonic's memories, as if the last 5 games haven't also been about memories, or going back in time, or seeing holograms of the past, or whatever. Heck, Sonic Lost World didn't even have any of those things. It was supposed to be this mysterious, forgotten planet, and it still had a Green Hill Zone motif. I've said it before. Whatever. Heck, Sonic Lost World didn't have any of those things. It was supposed to be this mysterious, forgotten planet, and it still had a Green Hill Zone motif. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Having multiple decades of Sonic games, very limited to say, oh, we're going back to Green Hill Zone, and
Use Metatron! Use Sune! His power!
Thank you.
Persona!
more than how Total Bugs or Sonic Superstars.
Let's give it all we got.
Green Hill Zone is his
I'll use this.
Persona!
mushrooms. And these cyberspace levels
After them!
drop down.
We don't stand a chance when it's down at all. Get out of here, Saturday, as soon as you can.
All your stats get locked down to specific levels. You can't use the side looping, burn in, they completely turn off camera controls. Well, that's probably supposed to make this feel more like a regular Sonic.
You can do it!
Try.
Here's the controls for Sonic.
Robot to a fight!
Air definition.
Justice!
Most 3D Sonic games, you walk on the nearby enemies and chain to get through a series of strikes quickly and effectively. Boom, 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 boom. Like the leader patrol.
What is all this?
Sonic Frontiers
Drop
and
the robot?
attack.
Hitting us with enough force will cause us
Use Sune! His power!
Maybe we can use that to our advantage. Thanks.
Let's go!
I'll use this. Terrifying sorcery. Go ahead.
Just swing away at him. Pay close attention to his movements.
Try this.
Hey, check out those wings! We can use them to get the jump on him?
Do it.
excited enough to get into the Sonic Frontiers side-scrolling levels, prepare yourself for some of the slowest Sonic gameplay the franchise has ever seen. Slower than Sonic Lost World, slower than Sonic Boom, and depending on how you look at it, slower than Sonic Labyrinth on the Game Gear.
Oh, that was a close one.
But we did it.
Sonic was slower than Mario in the original Super Mario Bros. From 1985. While boosting, when in other games, boosting does this. Which makes Sonic Frontiers feel like this. It brings me no joy to say that the cyberspace levels may actually be the worst parts of Sonic Frontiers. It's a bunch of levels you've already played before, except they now both look worse and play worse than they did back in their original games. Why on earth would I want to play an awkward port of Sky Rail set in Green Hill Zone when I could just load up Sonic Adventure 2 and play the real Sky Rail? Like, Sonic Frontiers, at least as of this writing, is a brand new, full-priced game. Sonic Adventure 2 currently sells on Steam for $10, and frequently gets discounted for even less. For a game that plays better. Or why would I want to play a version of classic Sonic's Chemical Plant Zone from Sonic Generations that is even slower and more clumsy than the original? Because I like the fake CRT effect and the trippy skybox down? Honestly, I wish I could turn those off and make Sonic Frontiers look like a normal game. Though, even if I could, I'm willing to bet the level will still look better in Sonic Generations, a game that's more than 10 years old and considerably more fun to play. If you're gonna bring back old levels like this, you have to make sure you're actually meaningfully improving on them in some way, not just porting them to save money on development costs. To be fair, when you do happen upon one of the original levels, it doesn't feel quite as bad. It's still not great, but at least you get levels that feel like they were made to work with the game's strange control ports instead of against them. But those are so few and far between that it hardly matters. The rest of the game was not made to be played like this, and as a result, Cyberspace has that strange, uncanny valley vibe of just feeling wrong. Just like the story, just like the open world, just like every part of Sonic Frontiers.
I'll just add this.
This is the request. It's good to Coco, what are you selling? I think they're discounted right now. You should buy something. Having trouble deciding?
Because I've already finished the skill tree 20 hours ago. A number of developers have tried their hand at making their own Breath of the Wild.
Having trouble deciding?
Ubisoft with Phoenix Rising to, yes, even the villainous Genshin Impact. Unfortunately for us, Sega chose Sonic to be their guinea pig here.
Having trouble deciding?
Rarely does Sonic Frontiers feel like a Sonic game, even in the face of elements that feel increasingly desperate to remind us of which franchise this is. There are great moments in Sonic Frontiers. I didn't really have space to talk about it anywhere else, but the soundtrack is incredible. The previous game, Sonic Forces, was awful. It was like baby's first EDM. The music for Frontiers is basically an apology for that. Every single cyberspace song is a jam. I also forgot to mention it, but the Supersonic boss fights look absolutely incredible. Like somebody at Sega was trying to capture a little bit of that Metal Gear Rising energy.
Are you gonna cook?
The first two are amazing spectacles, but even they start to lose people by the game's halfway point.
Well done.
The strong focus on good characterization in the writing is also very welcome, but the story spends too much time spinning its wheels to feel very satisfying overall. For every step Sonic Frontiers makes forward, it still feels like it takes more than 2 steps back, and many of those steps are in the wrong direction. For all the cheering this game received declaring that Sonic's back, it still feels too much like business as usual in some really depressing ways. That's the end of the video, so if you stick around, I've got a lot of housekeeping to do since it's been like 5 months since my last video, and a lot has happened. Though, as a general reminder, I will also say since my videos can be so spread out, you should really consider subscribing and ringing the bell for notifications.
This is the request.
Hey, I... Clear skies this time.
What a relief, right?
Right now it's pretty chill.
There they are.
I'm not gonna beg anyone to join since we're
Sorry we're late. Oh, good. We didn't miss it.
Perfect timing. I think it's about to
Third, I
start.
finally revamped my Patreon. I got rid of 2 outdated tiers.
Wow.
High value tiers. If there's ever been a game you
Whoa!
want
Look
me to talk
at
about,
him! Kaboom!
force me to do a video about
The move is right.
They're gorgeous.
Yes, a perfect scene of summer.
Hey! Can I see them too? Wow!
Man, I never saw fireworks from that close up before.
Me too. Oh, it was so pretty.
Indeed, the final Botan was quite the spectacle.
What now was a spectacle, Inari?
Fireworks are named after the display they create, such as Botan and Kamarugiku, which are the flowers they resemble.
So that's a Botan. It was much more amazing than the recordings I found online. I want to see all the other types of fireworks.
I'm right there with you. Think we unlock a trophy if we see every festival in the country?
Don't you hate crowds and stuff, though? Well, count me in anyway.
We'll show you anything you'd like, Sophia. We've got all the time in the world now.
That's right. Yes, that sounds great.
I can't believe vacation's already over. We went through so much, but I had such a great time with all of you.
Our inner circle's expanded a bit as well. I'll remember these months for the rest of my life.
Hi.
Hey, hey, my.
I'll just add this.
Hello, trickster. You wish to browse the entrance? You wish to strengthen it? May luck be on your side. This is the request. You're doing this one? You're doing this one? Time to get to... You're doing this one? You're accepting this request? And you're already working on it. Mission accomplished. You're doing this one? You're accepting this request? You're accepting this request? Okay. Look, you're already working on this one. You're already working on this one. Let's get to it. Here's what I found. Are you double checking the review? You're already working on this one. What are you selling? There's a sale happening. Now's your chance to shop.
Time to cut.
Let us begin.
All right, time to go wild.
Now then. I'll just add this.
Yes?
Hey, darling, thank you for not casting to my TV. Mama's trying to work, okay? And mommy has to look at YouTube to get ideas to work. So when you put your YouTube on my
Can
YouTube,
you please?
Mama can't work.
A dame for that one end?
Did I learn?
For
252
that
minutes.
one. 252 hours and 19 minutes. Why?
The longest I've. How much?
Huh? But how
I
long
played
was
Fortnite
the
for
stream?
59 days. I played Fortnite for 59 days. How many hours is 59 days?
Way more than 252 hours.
Well, I feel like you play Fortnite. I'm gonna say 50 days.
Wait, what? Wait,
50 days.
how do I serve this same?
Oh, here, I can do that for you. So look, okay, Adam, so look, you press share,
YouTube, upload.
Wait, what? Wait.
Share.
On YouTube?
Yes, you can share it on YouTube.
On the YouTube channel?
Yes.
Oh, alright.
Oh, you know what?
Huh?
This.